Hey, welcome back. I wanted to touch on a new tuning today called Tarboulton Tuning. It's taken from John Renbourn, who was an English guitarist who played in Pentangle, which is an awesome kind of Celtic roots band from like the 60s and 70s. And Renbourn was, along with Bert, both of whom were amazing guitarists who played a lot in alternate tunings. And really experimented a lot wildly, especially with the acoustic guitar. So I thought this would be an interesting tuning to try. It's one of many tunings that Renbourn used. So to get into this tuning, it's C in the bass, then A sharp, C, F, A sharp, F. So not a ton of notes in this tuning. There's only three notes being played, and if you're thinking of C as being kind of the root note of the tuning, then you've got a minor seventh and a fourth in there as well. So very consonant intervals, and meaning you could just experiment in this tuning and find a lot of things that sound really good, but also kind of unusual intervals, especially this A sharp on the fifth string here. It being that sort of minor seventh interval, it naturally draws me to want to play things that sound very mixolydian, meaning like a major scale with that whole tone on the seventh. And it just creates that sort of Celtic sound naturally, which I really like. So I was experimenting a lot with this tuning. Here's what it sounds like. Interesting sound. You've got the high strings a little higher than normal and standard, and the lower strings a little lower. You've definitely got that C, which is always nice, both on what was the E and D strings, and so it allows you naturally to kind of be able to open up and just experiment and improvise in this tuning. Also with that minor seventh here on what was the A string, it naturally just kind of lends me to want to improvise on the bass strings as well of the guitar. So. That kind of thing. There's also just a nice chord being made here with the open strings, so you can just kind of naturally bar it. And then what I noticed just in a few minutes of playing around with the tuning this morning, you've got a major chord here. So using that A minor shape on the fourth fret, you can just get a major chord on the fifth string. Just kind of move around, move your fingers around a little bit, you'll find some interesting voicings like this, kind of a minor seventh sounding chord. So yeah, you can definitely move around with that shape and find major and minor chords, which is in some interesting open voicings. That was one I saw right off the bat, and then another one is a major chord coming off of the C bass string, and that's played up here on the sixth fret. So, and then the open strings naturally just create interesting extensions off of that chord. yeah, aside from that, if you just started with those two shapes and played around moving those up and down the neck, accounting for majors and minors, you're going to find some really interesting open chords. And then just moving your fingers around to find those chordal extensions, you're going to find some really interesting stuff in this tuning. And for me, it naturally lends itself to playing in C and F, and lends itself to playing Mixolydian modes, Dorian modes, things like that naturally sound kind of Celtic, which is a really cool sound to be able to play really easily in this tuning. So I hope that was informative and enjoyable. I encourage you to play around with the tuning. And if you're interested in hearing what I was able to improvise this morning in this tuning, go ahead and check out my video that I posted earlier today called On the Jocko. And it's just the improvisation that I came up with in this specific tuning. So hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you next week.